Welcome to Nadia's Kitchen Creations. This week I'm doing Halloween cutout sugar cookies. For this recipe you'll need a quarter cup of drained sweet potatoes mashed. You'll also need half a cup plus 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, quarter teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of cornstarch, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and mix that well along with an 1/8 teaspoon of ginger, an 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg, and an 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once that's done being mixed, set that aside and we'll go ahead and start creaming the butter by hand. And you'll need a quarter cup of butter at room temperature. You can of course use an electric mixer, but I'm not looking to have a puffed up or fluffy cookie. We want it to stay kind of flat for decorating. That's going to be done later on. So you're going to cream the butter by hand or in an electric mixer for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then we're going to go ahead and add the sugar and beat that for another 2-ish minutes or so, and then add our quarter cup of sweet potato mash. And approximately 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then when that is done, we're going to go ahead and mix that into our dry mixture. Don't overbeat it. You just want to make sure everything is incorporated well. And to make this a little easier, and because it's a half batch, this isn't a full batch recipe, between 2 pieces of plastic wrap, just flour each side. You can form it into a loose ball, cover that up and roll it out to almost the thickness as you want, which will be about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. And then just wrap that well in the plastic wrap, or if you don't want to use the plastic wrap, just put it in a bowl and cover it and let your dough chill in the fridge for about an hour. You can leave it overnight or even up to 2 to 3 days, just making sure that it's wrapped so your dough doesn't dry out. So when your dough is chilled, go ahead and roll that out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. And don't worry about perfection here. If you have a few rips or tears, just press them back together and keep going. And if your dough starts to get too warm, by the time you're ready to cut it out, just pop that back in the fridge for another 15 minutes or so before it goes into an oven. So I chose, because it's Halloween, I chose to do some pumpkin shapes, shape of a coffin, a bat shape, a foot shape like Bigfoot, some leaves, some fangs, an acorn, whatever shape that you like to do for Halloween. At this point, like I said, if the dough starts to get warm, you can put it in the fridge right on its tray and just repeat that until you're finished with all of your cookie dough. And I just wanted to see what it would be like, so I just added a few more details to the cutout of the pumpkin, because as you'll see, some of them are going to be frosted and some of them will not. Your cookies will be put into an oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 9 to 11 minutes, and of course times will vary by oven. After your cookies are done, just leave them on the tray for about a minute and transfer them to a wire rack to cool completely. And in the meantime, while your cookies are cooling, you can go ahead and mix your icing. You'll need 1 cup of icing sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk or milk substitute. Just make sure that the milk substitute is unsweetened and unflavored, and about 4 to 5 teaspoons of corn syrup. And I would start with about half of the mixture because you may or may not need the entire amount of corn syrup. You want your icing or frosting to be nice and smooth and glossy. And when that's done, just set it aside. At this point, you can leave the color white or just use it as a base for any kind of sprinkles you want, or you can separate it into a few tablespoons at a time to make the various colors for your cookie decorations. I just had little craft supply sticks that I used. If you have a pastry spatula, then go ahead and use that, but use what you have. Don't go out and buy things unnecessarily. If you have a butter knife, use a butter knife. Those are my final results. Some pumpkins, a coffin, a bat, some Dracula fangs, and of course I left some of the cookies plain because not everybody wants frosting. So before you go, I would love it if you subscribe to Nadia's Kitchen Creations. Please don't forget to share this video, like it, and leave a comment. If you have any questions or concerns, drop them in the comment section below. So head on over to nadiadonella.com for the printable version of this recipe, the Halloween cutout sugar cookies. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.